Have you ever been on the train and those guys get on?
Oh
Those
yeah,
four like barbershop quartet guys get
yeah.
on.
Scooby-Doo, those dudes.
Yeah.
I met a girl.
Yeah. Change gonna come.
Well,
And,
that's crazy. Your parents aren't religious?
nah. Most Asian people are not religious, particularly.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it like you got to pick between Jesus and Buddha?
Nah, I mean, most people, there are some like people celebrate Christmas just for whatever gift giving purposes, but people very rarely in most Asian cultures don't go hard in religion. If they do go hard in religion, it's like some like local kind of shit where you pray to like the local tree gods or something.
Wow.
But it's not like you're not like Muslim or Christian or something. Even
That's
Buddhism
interesting.
doesn't really have the same religious feel, I feel like, in most of Asia.
Huh.
People in Japan, the major religion is Shintoism, which is like, you see a guy praying to like fish or something, or like trees,
Well, it makes
or like
sense.
flower or nature kind of gods. But it's not like I gotta kill you to prove a point kind of gods.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna fight a lion because you said Jesus.
But we're not
is
gonna,
real.
we're not gonna enslave a population because of this or something. But Buddhism is the one religion where it's like you don't send a guy to another country to fight a war for it.
Did you ever try to get into the Bible or church or anything?
The thing is, when you don't grow up with it, it just feels like, what am I even doing here? It's like trying to get into Star Wars or something. If you don't, once you're actually like of age.
Yeah, Jesus
I think
is nostalgic.
if you grow, not even that, but if you don't grow up with it, then you try to get into it. It's like, this is just a bunch of names. Matthew, Joseph, David. It's like, I can't learn all this shit.
He was definitely a lot more popular in the 70s.
Well, I think even now, it's like, if you grow up in the South, and it's like, you start learning about religion before you even know how to read.
Right.
Before anything, you're just in the mix. I think if you just you're going to church when you're a little kid and you're hearing it again and again, by the time you get old enough to think for yourself, you already understand all of this stuff.
I remember we used to do prayer in school. I remember when they stopped it. We would do the prayer and then we would pledge allegiance to the flag.
Wow.
And they stopped it in like 3rd grade or something.
Yeah, they don't do any of that stuff anymore. It'd be a riot.
Yeah, I grew up with church, never really paid attention. I just get through it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd feel good, but my mother we went every Sunday, dude. Like no matter what. Car broke down, we're walking to church. Like
You got dressed up?
yeah. And we just went every single Sunday, man. My whole life. And then
Was it the church like part of like the community too, where you're like,
yeah, it was St. Dominic's Church. I'm actually my father's named after it. That's how my family's religious, man.
wow, Catholic?
Yeah. Christian.
I mean, that's
You would think it's the same thing.
not even
but
that, but there's a part of the other. I mean, there's
Yeah.
Protestant and Catholic.
It's a whole argument.
What's the church?
To be
I mean,
honest
what-
with you, it still confuses
What
me.
kind of church was it then?
I don't even know anymore because so many people are like, what do you mean you're? Because I remember I'd be like, oh, I'm Catholic. And then you tell a Christian that. They're like, no, you're Christian. I'm
I mean,
like,
no, Christian. I mean, Christian is Catholicism is a part of Christianity.
yeah, it's a part, but
Protestant, Catholic.
it's like that
Presbyterian.
part, like almost like, I feel like it's the same as like, I don't know if it's like a part of it, like you would say Spanish and Mexican and Puerto Rican. Like people might be like, no, man, I'm not Puerto Rican, I'm
Right.
Mexican. It's almost like that because I don't. To be honest with you, I gotta ask AI what the difference is
I
because
bet you if you just went back to your church right now and just looked at the sign kind of carefully, the answer is right there. There's no way that just Christian is the kind of church. That doesn't add up.
if I remember, I
It's
asked
like saying
my
you're
phone-
from America, but I'm not from any kind of state. Yeah, just generally from America. It's like, no, you lived somewhere.
I asked my father once, and he said, "Oh, tell your teacher," because they were like, "Hey, tomorrow your assignment is." We had to do this in school. I can't believe this. You have to tell us what religion you are. Imagine if they asked
Oh
that.
man,
now.
that's an instant lawsuit.
Learning disability class too.
Wow.
And yes, and nobody knew what religion they were, so they had to go home and ask their parents.
Wow.
But yeah, and my dad said, "You make sure you tell her you're a Catholic, but you're a good Christian." And I said it just like he said, and she's like, "What? What are you even talking about?" She's like,
Wow.
"That doesn't make any sense." Ever since then, I've been confused.
Yeah, Catholic.
What's St.
Catholic,
Patrick's?
Catholic is the answer then.
Yeah.
I mean, Italian Catholic, that works, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Generally speaking.
I guess I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
I gotta start telling people I'm Catholic.
But I mean, you could tell from the church itself too, right?
Yeah, and some churches.
Did the Pope ever come up as a guy to look up to?
Well, I've been to a few different churches. I don't just stick with one church. So
But when you're growing up, though, St.
The
Dominic's.
one I grew up is probably more of a Catholic church. Yeah.
Hold on.
I don't think that was somebody knocking for us. Somebody just killed Dan. We gotta leave that in there though. That was Jesus. Just
Nobody
now.
ever, yeah. But no, I mean, like, there's nothing. It's not like something you don't lean Catholic or Protestant in a church. It's one or the other. I mean,
Yeah.
there's quite a disagreement going on.
Well, the Christian churches are more loose. They're usually like in the back of a meeting hall. It's not really even like a church. It's like there's a lot of young kids running around playing games.
Well, it's more casual, I think.
Yeah, it
Catholic
is.
church
Blue
is more
jeans.
like just like a big ceremony. It's
Yeah.
like you're walking into like a holy place.
Yeah, so I guess I'm Catholic then if you really break it down like that.
Yeah, if you want to be an asshole about it. Yeah.
I went to, I started getting back into church. I went to St. Patrick's Cathedral, beautiful church like over by Midtown. And they were like, oh, yeah, we got this youth group. Are you under 30? And I was 29, so I was like, yeah. So I made all these friends, and then we would go out to the bar with like the priest after. He'd be drinking, like
Right, yeah.
hanging out with you, and you're just BSing with them 4 beers in.
Wow.
And, it was cool. I loved it. It was real kind of lax, and you make friends with everybody, and we were texting each other, oh, you going? It was like a Tuesday at like 8 or something. And then one day I kept going, and then they caught on to me that I was like 31. I got into it for like a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
And then he goes, yeah, you're too old for this. This is a youth. This is 30 and under. And then I went to the regular church. It just wasn't the same. So I just kind of quit going.
And they lost,
Yeah.
Jesus lost a soldier.
I still read the Bible, though. I mean, in my opinion, and this is really my full-on opinion about it, when I'm living right, and the Bible gives me tools to live right. Like, iron sharpens iron, a man sharpens a man. Like, that's a good quote. So you don't want to be an asshole. Don't be jealous of thy neighbor. Watch how you talk of the tongue, and things like that are good things to live by. But when I'm living right and I am reading the Bible and I'm like trying to be good, I feel like things are just easier. I'm floating through life. And then when I start to go the other way, I'm like being an asshole, talk about people, out drinking, being like, whatever. I feel like things are a little bit harder for me.
That's the devil.
Yeah. It's the devil trying to get you.
It's funny because in New York, there are like some people that do go to like, there's every different kind of church you could possibly want to go to. There is like big Catholic, like fancy church in like Manhattan, where it's like this is like a historical building you're walking into, and it's gigantic. And then you're walking around this neighborhood, and there's like storefront church,
right?
Where it's like the door just opens up from the sidewalk,
yeah,
and it's just under an apartment building, and it's just a square room with a bunch of chairs in it, and it's like 8 o'clock on a Thursday, and there's just a guy who's yelling and a bunch of like old women crying or something.
And people cooking.
Yeah, but there's like a drummer, and they're like, there's those kinds of churches where there's like gospel music playing and they're singing and dancing.
Yeah.
But then there's also like fire and brimstone church, where it's like, no, everybody in this room has to repent right now.
Yeah.
And there's like angry church. But then there's also like, I was walking by Gramercy Theater one time on a Sunday. They have like rock and roll fun church.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it's like
I've seen that.
It's like young people. And it's just like a line down the block. It's like they sell out. It's like a comedy show. They sell out 2 shows.
Yeah.
Just a line down the block of just like really like clean cut young people who are just, trying to live a good life.
Then they got them churches at the YMCAs. You ever go to those ones?
Well, those are like court mandated church.
Yeah.
It's like, no, yeah, you got to go do this for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
You made a mistake. You have to repent.
I was part of this weird church actually because I got arrested. I was in one of those, and it was called
Was it DUI?
No, it was running from the cops. Well, basically what happened was I didn't do any. My girlfriend.
Let me explain.
Yeah. First off, I love God.
Right? You know me.
It was the weirdest thing because I always thought religion pork was like frowned upon, and that's all they would let us eat is ham. To this day, I don't eat ham, and I'm Italian. Like I don't really eat
But you
ham.
do
after
eat
this.
salami.
Every now and then, but you won't see me just regular ham sandwich. Never.
But pork is pork, though. I mean, you eat bacon.
It's got a different taste. I never knew salami was pork, to be honest with you.
Salami is everything. Sausage is everything. Yeah.
But I rarely get down on that. But just straight up like ham, I'm talking like maple from the deli, thin
Yeah, I guess,
sliced.
yeah.
Dude, I'll throw
Yeah, I
up.
don't. Just the taste wise, I don't do it. Not like a moral.
I used to love it, but that's all they would let us eat, and ramen noodles. That's all you were allowed to eat, and you had to work all day. It was called Team Challenge.
Oh wow.
It was like a Christianity thing, and it's crazy. We had like people from India there. He's like, "I'm sorry, this isn't my beliefs." They're like, "No, man, you have to pray. You're going to jail."
Right.
And this is some Ohio stuff, and we would have
it's like everybody in there had some different. It was all criminals, right?
right, yeah, a lot of heroin addicts.
Yeah.
And one dude actually ran 40 miles a day. Heroin addict.
Wow.
After work, he would just run the farm. It was like it's basically where it was a fairgrounds. You ever go?
Yeah.
So it was basically just that. We did all the
Community
work there.
service.
It's a lot of work to do at fairgrounds. Like I painted barns and planted flowers.
It's one of those things where it's like low key slavery.
Right, you're doing it for free.
Yeah, doing it for free.
Busting
it's like,
your ass
and you're
in the
doing like
sun.
the lowest kind of work. Yeah, picking up trash on the side. Yeah.
And then they have those events, and then you're cleaning up after them. That's how.
Yeah.
That's who cleans up after that and sets all that up.
Yeah, you don't realize when you take your kid to the fair that there's just straight up criminals that are setting all this up.
It was so crazy. I had this thing, the Rooster, at the Campfield Fair. It was like this huge thing. Dude, a black van pulls up. They had like 20 cops there, scared somebody was going to steal the Rooster. And it was a whole thing. They're like, nah, you guys can't work. The Rooster's coming.
Wow.
And it's like, dude, who's stealing? It wasn't gold. It was just a Rooster.
I think this day and age, though, I mean, the way people are, people steal anything now.
Right.
More and more people, yeah. I mean, people steal copper wiring.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll take it, yeah.
Aluminum siding.
Junkies got to be junkies.
Yep. But anyway, so what happened was I was seeing this girl at the time. She got real drunk. She refused to let me drive her home because, she was just 20 years old.
Yeah.
And you know how they are. And I was about 20 myself. I think I was 22. And, saying anyways, I'm like, no, listen, you got a baby, you got a good job with the city. If you get DUI, you're done. And she's like, no, I'm following behind you. And then she's like riding my ass, like about to hit me. She's so mad at me. So I go, look, go around me and go in front of me. And she just did it instantly and hit a telephone pole.
Wow.
Like it was so quick. And, saying I parked my car, it was right in front of my apartment. And then I run back and park her car in the garage. The dude at the gas station that works there, was a gas station in my apartment. I didn't know he was a retired cop, and he calls the police on me. Me and this dude were like best friends.
Wow.
And he goes, yeah, he lives in that apartment. And either way, I told him my name and everything. So they got it off the thing. They're ringing my buzzer. I got arrested. It was crazy. I could have got out of it, too, because the cop's like, if you don't tell me where she is, I'm going to take my gun out and blow your head off. This is before, like, body cams.
Yeah.
I wish I would have had, like, a cell phone to record that. He had his pistol out.
Wow.
He's like, try me. And the other guy's like, dude, he's already killed a couple people. I'm like,
Wow.
bro, this is crazy. I said, I don't know where she is. She was mad at me, so she ran into the woods. And then she's hammered, drunk, falling down. They arrest me in the back of the police car. She comes out of the woods. She goes, hey, I wrecked the car. And turns out it's this dude that liked her in high school. She gets in no trouble.
Wow.
I get all this trouble for it. Dude, 6 months of community service.
Wow.
For moving a car.
It's so funny, though, that somebody, the punishment for doing whatever crime that was is like, you gotta be religious for a while.
Right.
We're sending this guy to church.
Yeah.
Straight up, yeah, go be Christian for a while.
And I was the only guy that was able to leave. Everybody else had to stay and sleep there. And, they would take a bus back and forth from the place. And, dude, I got to leave. I know they probably hated that, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I would rub it in their face, too. I'd be like, yep, guys, I think I'm going to take off and go home. Had enough of this. but you couldn't bring food there. You were only allowed to eat ham sandwiches and ramen noodles. Bugs would be all on the ham. This dude's filthy hands. He'd be making them.
Wow. Well, they don't want you tasting the good life.
Yeah, or
They
even
gotta
sneaking in stuff.
Mentally, they got to keep you in the prisoner mind state.
Keep you hungry.
Yeah.
I used to pretend I was in the Matrix when I worked there.
What do you mean?
I would just eat the sandwich, and I'd even talk like Neil a little bit.
Yeah.
I put on an act when I'm in different cities. If I know I'm doing something short term, like I used to do like production assistant work at pop-ups, you're never going to see these people again.
Of course.
I used to act real off
Yeah.
just to make the day fun,
There is no ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't even eat ham.
Yeah.
But, yes, and I did that.
Did they actually were they doing like sermons or something? There's like
Yeah,
they
and
bring
then
a pastor
nobody
in?
knew the prayer because there's two different versions. When you do Our Father who art in heaven,
Yeah.
there's two different versions, and there was like,
Well, there's like different translations or
there's
something.
35 guys were all, you get to that one part, you just got lip sing it.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna do the national anthem. Sing in front of the Warriors. Yeah. And the Rockets' red glare. I know that much.
Yeah.
Everything else is a little shaky.
Man, dude, I don't even know how you're doing that. I wouldn't be able to do it. Even if my father asked me, I'd be like, yeah, remember all those Christmas toys that were actually math problems you got me? I don't think I'm helping.
I would do this solo.
Yeah?
This is something you can't turn down.
Yeah, you're right. It's a once
Just
in a
a
lifetime
story
thing.
for the story, and just like, this is never ever gonna come up again.
Well,
No matter how hard I work at show business.
I'm not musically inclined at all, though. Like, I wouldn't, dude, I would wreck this thing.
Yeah, part of me thinks though, if I fuck this up, then that's even better.
You might go viral.
The better story is actually if it goes bad than if it goes good.
You should go out there with an Italian accent. I'm going to entertain you guys better than you've ever done before.
Yeah. I'm going to go up and sing the Palestinian national anthem.
That would be crazy. What if after this you start dating Kim Kardashian? It just
Right,
kind of
yeah.
happens.
Do you ever do you remember what they were telling you in like that Christian when you were in that camp?
About like how to live and stuff? No, just no breaks.
Oh, so were they actually telling you like religious stuff, or was it just?
No, we would just have to do the prayer, like a little prayer before we ate.
Oh, so
all
this
that
is just a
stuff.
work camp then.
Yeah, it was a work camp, and you would just do that stuff. These other guys had to do more, but they were all kind of drug guys.
Because I think a lot of those things do end up being like, if you go to AA, then it is just like a straight up, like they get a pastor to come in, or like a reformed criminal who comes in. And like,
Yeah, we had that.
yeah, the guy who sits backwards in the chair and like, I'm going to break it down for you.
Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
Let me
this
tell you
dude,
something.
Jesse. They were like, Jesse was here.
Yeah. Let me tell you, life isn't like, what's the Rocky thing?
Yeah,
Nothing hits harder than life. It's not
It was
about
fun.
how hard you get hit. It's about, getting hit, whatever.
It was funny. The dude that we had, the Jesse dude, would be telling us about the outside world. And it's like, dude, these guys were just drug addicts. Like, one dude was an engineer. This dude,
Yeah.
Jesse, washed semis. It's like, bro, what, like,
Yeah.
he's like, let me tell you something. When you get out there, it's not easy. And this guy's like, yeah, dude, I'm an engineer. I'm gonna be
Yeah, I
all
own a
right."
house.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just in here because of heroin. It was a lot of meth,
Right.
heroin, and a lot of gay dudes, actually. Back then, that was like, I guess you can get in trouble. I don't know if for being gay necessarily, but one dude was in there. He was gay and had AIDS, and I think he, I don't know, he gave it to a bunch of people or something. I don't really know
That might
all
have
the
been
details.
like a drug situation.
Yeah,
or something.
sharing a
Needles.
needle.
Yeah.
People, they clean their needles in public bathroom toilet paper rolls.
Yeah, well, now that's why these days they try to do like an exchange thing. You drop it in a box and you get a fresh needle or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty smart to think about it.
Yeah. I'd never be able to bang some dope. I just watched somebody do it right next to me, dude, Washington Square Park. I mean, this dude was filthy dirty, just banged it right in his arm, dude.
Yeah, I've seen that before too.
And just slouched down.
Yeah. Doesn't even look like they're having like a fun time.
Not at all.
Yeah. At some point, the guy that was like his favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Now it's just like something you got to do to not be sick.
He first did it in the 70s.
Yeah.
I had that Leonard Skinner playing. Dude, I had a friend that used to pop pills all the time, and he would just take whatever he could get. Like, he would see an ad on TV. One was Lyrica. It's for people with nerve damage.
Yeah.
And dude, right in front of me, he calls his doctor, does some Google. Googling's a bad thing for some people.
Right.
He just straight up Googled, how do you get Lyrica from your doctor? Called his doctor up, said the lines. They brought him in. Dude, within a month, this kid had Lyrica. I didn't know what it does. And he walked right into the wall. He's walking like the ground's moving.
Wow.
You know, you're supposed to take like one. Obviously, he ate the whole script pretty much.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, everything feels like rubber. You want some? I'm like, dude, what type of life is this? Then he fell off a ladder. He forgot he was on a ladder. He's like, let me take a step back and look at this. And he just fell right off.
Wow.
He was on like a 12-foot ladder.
What's crazy is that the government's response to that is when you're like hooked on drugs is like, no, just send this guy to church for a while.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out. It's
Yeah.
like, no, this dude there's a chemical imbalance in his body. Just hearing about Christ isn't going to save him.
Yeah, switch wine with pills.
Yeah, right. But it's like, you got to figure a way to taper off. You don't just throw a Bible at him.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, then you start to think, hey, well, now I could do some drugs and just ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, right. I could see it, though. I feel like the one way, because I doubt at this point, I've gone this far with that religion, I doubt I'm ever going to really pick it up. The one time I think I would actually end up picking up religion is if the government does lock me up.
Yeah,
if I go to
you'd have
prison,
to.
but not even like have to in terms of like a gang situation. But I feel like when you're in prison and you just have this much time, just time to think, that's when I think you start getting into. That's why I'd get to pick up the Bible and really start, thinking deeply about things.
Comes at your darkest time.
Well, it's just like if you have time to read and you're in your brain, you're in your head all day. But it's like when you're just living a regular life, you got stuff to do. You can keep yourself occupied.
Well, now times kind of changed. You're allowed a phone in prison now. So if you had you'd just be on TikTok scrolling, probably playing.
They're not
the
even
violin.
allowed those phones, though.
Really?
You can just get them. No.
I thought they were starting to pass it.
Nah. No way.
Really?
They're not getting a prisoner a fucking phone. No
Dude,
way.
I thought they had tablets and shit.
Oh, I mean, you can get. I think if you're in like school in prison, then you can get an official shitty kind of tablet that can't do anything.
But you can't be on TikTok and
No,
Instagram.
they can't have you ordering hits on people and shit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Getting drugs sent in or something. I mean, people do get phones just because those prison guards are making no money. So I think that's how they, you make some money on the side.
Will they just watch cable all day?
You just sit in your cell and you read the Quran.
Yeah,
do
I guess
push-ups.
so.
Yeah,
do arts and crafts.
That's how those guys get into doing different kinds of push-ups, the diamond fingertip push-ups and shit.
They always have that trick with the punch.
Yeah.
Remember, hold your hand out.
But it's just, you can tell how much a guy's life, how shitty their life is once they start adopting different push-up stances.
Yeah.
Because when you're out here, I mean, we all, you do a standard push-up, but it's like, no, this isn't enough.
Yeah.
I got to make this more difficult for myself.
Yeah. And dude, well, you know what though? Also, they get a little break when they color and stuff like that. You ever see prisoners doing arts and crafts, or have somebody?
Yeah.
I had my cousin. He sent me a sailboat he made.
Popsicle sticks.
Yeah, and it looked good. It was like, yo, man, this is nice.
Well, the guy had time to do 100 versions of it. And
Right.
It's like, yeah, finally you can make a good one.
I'd start making chess pieces out of rocks.
Oh yeah, whittling.
Yeah, I'd get a little rock hammer.
I think we'll never know in our life what it's like to have that kind of free time.
We knew in the pandemic.
That was it. Even during the pandemic, though, we were still around all of our stuff.
Yeah.
You could still keep yourself occupied. But just I don't know, when's the last time you've actually gone a full day without looking at a phone? Or...
Before phones.
Yeah.
I remember when the first iPhone came out, I was barely doing much with it, just texting. But, dude, do you remember how being bored and just really doing stuff?
Just, in a quiet room.
Making see how many different paper airplanes you can make?
Yeah. That's when you start doing push-ups.
Or painting. I used to paint before cell phones came out.
Yeah.
I had nothing better to do.
Yeah, that's when you were still going to church.
Yeah. Yeah, I painted real religious pictures too.
Yeah. What kind of stuff?
I don't know, just stuff you would see in churches. I didn't really do the naked babies. I did people with cloaks. It's actually easy to paint people in cloaks. Just a couple bubble lines at the bottom, arms, some long hair. You're done.
Do you think you're gonna start getting back into church at some point?
I've been reading the Bible, man. I'm telling you, I really do notice it. Like,
but I mean, like, it's one thing. Reading the Bible is one thing, but like making a commitment to go every Sunday.
To go to the physical place, I don't have time. I don't know.
If you had time, though, if you was like, because they got churches all over the place.
Yeah, but I don't even know what I get out of that all the way.
Go to a Puerto Rican church. Finally settle down.
I mean, I used to go to one they used to cook in the Bronx when I was real broke. I would go just to eat. I picked up some Spanish, too.
Wow.
Because they'd be on that microphone, like you said, those ones.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, what kind of food is that?
It was like rice and beans and what are those things called? The like bananas, but better.
They're plantains. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I remember people would be like...
Chicharrones.
They'd be, what do you call, like, I remember, dude, like these people with the motorcycles, they'd be doing the same thing at church, like fixing their mopeds, like me, when the dude's all talking on the thing.
Wow.
People selling T-shirts, the 2 and the 5 stop.
Well, I think that's just like a community gathering place.
Yeah, hot dogs.
Yeah, the guy, I mean, like all the religious part, that's just one component of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You just go there and, you meet a wife.
Yeah, good place to meet one.
Yeah.
She tells you how to live.
Well, I feel like New York City, it would be, I don't even know if you feel like you go to church here to meet a wife. That feels more like a Midwest move.
Yeah, you go to church in New York if you want to sell cars or something. That's a good
networking move.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's how you
come to my comedy show.
Yeah. Well, you meet like the other CEOs or something.
I'm selling these knockoff Yeezys. You show them a picture. I get these made in Bangladesh.
Well, this is like, it's like how every like politician, once they decide they're going to like really try to move up the ladder and they want to be president, you got to start going, you got to pick a church.
A bunch of them.
I mean, you got to pick, but you got to like go hard on church. That's why someone like Barack Obama, who grew up with no religion whatsoever, it was like, no, this is time to turn up.
Right.
Yeah, now I'm picking a church.
Yeah, it's a big community of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, those comedy shows, them church. I would even do one. I could pull it off. A friend of mine was telling me he does a little bit of improv up front, then he does 40 minutes in Q&A. Gets $5,000 a pop to do churches.
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like the pressure has to be so much lower doing comedy in a church. Because you know you got to be clean, and it's like probably like 4 p.m. But it's also like, anytime if shit's ever really going bad for you, you just start getting serious.
Yeah.
Whereas like, guys, this country's got to come together.
You're right.
Yeah, love is the only thing that brings us together.
So many of our presidents are doing. Dude, when you watch some of the speeches, it's like, hey, so what do you feel about what's going on with Palestine? Well, number one, God is number one first.
Yeah.
And as we come together as a people, we need to make a change. And everybody's clapping. It's like, well, what are we going to do, though?
Yeah, love is the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, peace is not the solution, it's the way.
They show a picture of Bob Marley.
Yeah, right. But that kind of like church audience, they're in a pretty good mood. You're just being positive. So it's like every once in a while, you can like make a couple jokes, be a little serious, make a couple jokes. Whereas in a regular comedy show, you got to be killing the whole time.
Well, even those church audiences, they go for you. I did one. I had to open up for a real filthy comedian. He had no clue what he was getting booked to do. Dude, it was crazy. The person they all held hands before, and they said, let's let God in so these comedians do well and say a prayer and bless us with good feelings. And this comic goes up on stage like, yo, I'm really trying to hook up with a bitch right now. Like on some shit like that.
Yeah.
And dude, they were just like kind of sitting through it politely. Like,
wow, he doesn't realize nobody's drinking.
Right.
Yeah, these are children.
He's like, dude, just going around. Like, yo, I seen you walk in. That ass is fat. It's like some old lady, like 60 years old. And they're just like, like,
wow.
They had no clue what to do.
They're at least, at least they're being polite. I can't imagine anybody getting booed in a church.
Yeah. I did a backyard show one time. They got real religious. The dude did about 40 minutes talking about how his grandma died. He was in tears.
Wow.
And he goes, I can't just, Dom, come on up here.
Oh, my God.
It's like, what? Dude, first off, he's like, yeah, we had to move it to the backyard because, we couldn't rent the hall. And I'm just in these people's backyard.
Yeah. You ever like get in a situation where you didn't realize the person that you were with was like super religious?
Oh
Where they
yeah,
just kind of, it just sneaks up on you?
yeah,
One time I remember just being in this guy's car, and it's like one of the situations where you're getting a ride from somebody that you kind of know. It was like a friend of a friend.
yeah.
I thought we'd hung up before, but apparently we hadn't. So it's like at first it's like an hour drive somewhere, and the first 10 minutes you're kind of making small talk, and you just run out of stuff to talk about. And the guy's like, "Oh, just he puts a CD in." And you think he's gonna put in music, but it was just like a sermon. So we're just driving from LA. It was like the middle of the night, and it's just blasting this like fire and brimstone. You must
Wow.
repent now.
Wow.
And I remember him just looking over at me like, man, that's pretty good, huh?
Was he Irish?
No, it was like a Mexican dude.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the other one.
Exactly. This dude was looking at me like, man, this guy's making some points, huh?
Yeah.
Think about
man. Yeah. Woo! Banging the wheel.
Yeah. It's like, good God, just put the radio on. This is intense.
Yeah, you get those people that are real religious. Most people that I see that are extremely real religious is because they had, they were messed up. They were on drugs. Like we knew that one comic. And then I think the problem is they get so used to going to church, then they go to confession and they also they'll stand up and you start mixing the AA people with the church people
Yeah.
where they confess the things they did.
Yeah.
They don't know how to separate that to regular people. Like, I don't know if you remember that one guy. He quit, but dude, nobody knew how to take it from him. He'd just start talking about God, and then he'd be like, yeah, and I used to even suck dicks, and like I didn't even like it, but I had to get the money.
Yeah, right.
It's like, what?
So yeah, we're all about to eat breakfast here.
Yeah, it's like, dude, we're sharing the same microphone in 5 minutes.
That is so funny. Yeah, not that kind of church.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go into a room for that one.
It always happens.
Wow.
You get them ex-drug addicts, get real religious. They just love to confess some shit.
Wow. Well, I mean, there are some people that go to regular. I think if you're like if you have a nice family and you go to like a nice church in the suburbs, you don't hear like dark shit like that.
Right.
Going to church is just like, oh, we're 2 hours on Sunday before we watch football, we're gonna like have be happy and talk about love or something.
And those are the most messed up people. If you could look into their head, it's like, oh, you used to skin cats. Well, that's good to know.
Right.
They'll never tell you.
Yeah, they got some weird porn basement or something.
I come from those flyover states where everybody's perfect. Nobody says nothing,
Yeah.
Then you get to know them a little bit.
Right.
They
Your dad still goes to church?
Yeah, he does. He put a roof on the church. He really does go a lot.
Wow.
I think he even listens to the Bible on, he's into that, all that.
Wow.
I grew up around it. It makes you feel good, man. Like, that's my proof of it is the way you feel. Like,
Of course.
I talk to people that are like, see, what you do is you're like, I'm not big on religion. That's okay. I don't like the people that are like, got to go the other way so much when they're like, well, it's ridiculous to believe in that. It's science. It's like, all right, bro, how do you even know anyway? And, what people do with religion is they just feel good from it. It's a good feeling.
Right. Well, it's something where it's like, clearly if you took this away from this person, their life would fall apart.
Oh, yeah. The people that are really invested.
These people have guns in their cars. It's like, you want this guy to have some accountability.
Yeah.
If it's just him, and it's like, no, we're all screwed here.
Yeah, that's true, too. Yeah, the people that are really deep, they need it.
Yeah. Especially, a guy who's got some sort of dark past or something, and this is what got him off of dope.
And sometimes that's all people got.
Yeah.
I got friends like that. My friend sold his front door. Dude's real religious. Now, it was a nice door, too. I couldn't believe he sold it.
Yeah, we were talking that one time. It's like it's almost like we were going to try to write a bit about there's like a path where you go from your life getting fucked up, you getting on meth, moving in with a bunch of dudes.
Right.
And then the end of that path is Christianity.
Yeah.
Those guys, you either die or you become extremely religious.
Yeah, and somewhere along the lines, there was a little gray area when you just don't talk about those couple weeks.
Yeah, but it's like it's always when you get a bunch of tweakers in the same house, where it's like, this is gonna go one way or the other.
Yeah, have you ever seen those houses, dude? I've seen those houses One time, I knew a dude that had a house with 30 people lived in it.
Wow.
It was like a 3-bedroom house.
Jesus Christ.
No utilities.
Yeah.
Just, just out there living.
Bunch of guys figuring it out.
Yeah, a couple girls in there, fresh out of high school.
Right. See, the thing is, too,
goes.
is that, like, I imagine when you were growing up, because your choice was Catholic church or probably some sort of Protestant Presbyterian church.
Yeah.
But there was nobody, it was never an option in your head, like, hey, what about Islam?
Right.
Yeah.
Or what's the one? I didn't know my brother was telling me you can convert to be Jewish. I didn't really.
Of course.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I
thought
mean, you got to
have
start
to be
somewhere.
born though. I thought it was like one of those things like being Italian.
No, I mean, theoretically, you're not like descendant of like the tribe of Israel or something. But if you marry a Jewish girl and you really want to get down with the church,
Wow.
I think there's a process. It's like becoming a citizen of a different country.
I didn't know they let people in like that.
Yeah, I mean, they want more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what Jewish religion is. I have no clue what it even is.
I think in practice, it's very similar to what
Jesus,
to
and
regular
stuff.
Christianity.
God.
Most of those religions have a very similar bent. Some of them are more strict than others, but the overall spiritual leanings of it are pretty similar.
Once religion starts messing with what you could eat and what type of deodorant you could put on, that's
Right.
when I'm like, dude, I don't know how you guys do it.
Once it becomes a scheduling thing,
Right.
where it's like I gotta stop whatever I'm doing to pray right now,
Gotta pull the cab over or something.
and it's like, well, we're doing stuff right now. We can't. Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I walked dogs Upper West Side, dude, it was insane the amount of people pulled over, just yellow cabs and black Ubers, people on carpet. I mean, dude, like by 72nd,
it sneaks up on you.
Bro, it happens quick.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're ordering chicken and rice. And the guy's like, hold on a second.
Yeah. First time I moved to New York is when I was walking dogs. I didn't know what happened, dude. I was looking in the sky. I thought some shit was going down.
Yeah.
It was like 300 people.
That does show a level of dedication that most regular people would just not be able to get.
What makes you feel good? Like meditating. Do you ever meditate? Give thanks for things?
Yeah.
Dude, when I do that in the morning, my whole day's clear.
Yeah, well, the thing is, too, if the guys who, like, Muslim, they pray 3 times a day, it's like you have 3 different times in a day where everything goes away. And it's like, I'm just doing this one thing. So I could see how that could, it could help you mentally.
I could definitely see how it would. I get away from it, but we all have weaknesses. I'll ask God, and I'll be like, hey, give me strength so I don't talk bad about somebody. Help me to not be jealous. Help me to be grateful for what I have.
Right.
And I feel like it definitely helps, but when I forget to do that, dude, I go the other way pretty quick.
Right. It's funny, though, is that there are a lot of people whose prayers are like, I got to get some money.
And pray
to get a better car.
Oh, yeah. Some stupid stuff like that.
Prosperity
Yeah.
gospel. Yeah.
I want to bang that bitch Amber from up the street.
I
please.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. First, I have to visualize.
Yeah, dude. I used to pray for a beard. I remember when I was younger, everybody had beards. When I was about 15, they started getting their Ohio beard. And the only people that didn't have them was me and my father. I'm like,
wow.
When am I going to get my beard? He's like, I don't know, son.
Right. Me, your father, your father's father.
Yeah, and I prayed. I went to a doctor. They're like, there's nothing you could really do. It's just the way your face is.
Wow.
But, I've prayed for dumb stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everybody's always wanting the $1 million, asking the universe for the money.
Right. That is like a different form of religion that people don't really talk about it in religious terms. But if you do spend all of your time just thinking about, like, I wish the universe would just give me a bunch of money.
Yeah.
That is, you are doing a very religious act.
Yeah, but it's like, what's the odds of just, I know people that are like, I just want to just be walking down the street and see a bag of money. I knew a dude real religious like that. And he'd be like, nah, dude, something in my gut tells me go this way. It might be that bag of money. And, dude, I seen the dude like 20 years later. He hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Still, he gasses up cars at a car dealership. I'm just like, dude, you could, he's got a high school kid job. He's like 50.
Right.
I'm like, dude, you could just get a real job and you'll make that money, man.
Right.
What about those people that they're like, just put it all in God? Like my one buddy, Bill, he'll just fall asleep with his leg hanging off a roof. And I'll be like, he's a roofer. I mean, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But and these people that like dangle their legs over like Brooklyn Bridge, they'll be like, when it's my time, it's time. It's like, no, if you dangle your legs over a bridge,
yeah, it's not going to tap into you on the ground.
Yeah, it's probably getting a little close. Even God would be like, hey man,
this is dicey.
I can't do everything here.
Yeah.
You gotta stay away from a bridge.
If you would, can you imagine right now if it was like that work camp you were in, if they ever called you and said, hey, we need you to come in and talk to some guys about God,
yeah,
would you be able to do like an hour, you think?
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually did talk to the people after I finished the 6 months thing. They do that.
They brought you in.
They asked you to come back. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They do it with everybody. And it was Campfield Fairgrounds, so it was a 5-minute drive from my house. And I became friends with the guys,
But did you come in and like do a sermon?
Yeah, but I was such an asshole. I didn't do a sermon. I just talked about how much money I made washing cars, and I really amped it up, dude. It was so dumb, dude. When I look back on it, I'm like,
it's so funny.
I was so mad at these guys because they were kind of jerks to me.
Yeah.
So I went back, and half the people were still there. Like, these people do like 2 years, like
of course,
5 years. You're really in there, and you're living there. It's like CAA or something,
Yeah.
Like it's. If you mess up here, you're going to prison. Most of these guys have long.
Well, it's
prison
the kind of thing where it's like it's a fucked up situation, but you're still glad you're not in prison.
Right.
Yeah, this is still better than being locked up.
Yeah, dude. I'd get out. When I got out, I came back. It was like right. He cut me a deal. What he did was, you have to log in your hours. So because you need so many hours, dude. If I had to think of it, I wouldn't even want to think about how many hours I wasted. But you have to always log in your hours, and I think it was like 100 or something. I think I had to do like 160,
yeah,
or something like that. But you can only do like, they take away your hour lunch break. You can't leave, so you're there for 8 hours. You're really there for 7. It's hard to get that 160, man.
Wow.
And then I had to work a full-time job too.
Yeah.
So you can't just quit your job. So I'd have to go every weekend. I'd go. And then I had 1 day off work. The court mandatory took me off work. So I wasn't even making much money. I was getting like 32 hours a week at work.
Wow.
But so he cut me a deal. He's like, hey, if you just come in and do a speech, you don't got to do your last 8 hours. So I was like, dude, bet. But then I went in there. I was such an asshole. I was like, yeah. I was like, I make $2,000 a week washing cars. I didn't make that. I just wanted to see their eyes.
Want to stunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start telling them about the different kinds of soaps.
Yeah.
Can you imagine though if it was like? Do you think? Imagine if somebody called you and said like, we got a bunch of like troubled teenagers who are like, they got to go one way or the other. We need somebody who's going to give them like a positive motivational speech. Do you think you'd be able to really pull it out?
Yeah, I got it in me to amp people up.
Yeah.
I was a manager of a car wash for 10 years.
I don't think that's part of the job.
Well, no, but you got to hype people up. Like, they know they got to do some real shitty stuff that day.
Yeah.
So you got to go in, what's up, team? I know we got some bad ones. It's going to be fun. We'll spruce these. I'll try to break them up, man.
Right.
And if we really bust ass, we'll get out of here an hour early, man. Let's do it. I'm going to get us pizza for
Right.
These people will be amped up, then you give them that car.
Yeah.
Come on, Mikey. Give him some little nicknames.
Yeah.
Big Ed.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
But like, could you do like? Imagine if you had to do some like Eric Thomas kind of shit.
Oh, dude,
motivational
I would love
speaker.
to, bro.
Do you think? Yeah. I mean, like, what do you think it's like the first couple times you do that when they're like, you gotta go up there, you got half an hour, and you gotta by the end of this, you gotta like these guys gotta be able to run through a wall.
Well, I watch a lot of E.T., the hip hop preacher, if you don't know who it is.
Yeah.
So I'd just be able to do and doing comedy.
That dude, I mean, like, he's got like his shit is stretched. He thinks it out.
Well, now
he
it's
goes
real
in
commercialized.
Well, he's got like a plan though, where he's like, a guy who goes into the water and he dunks his head in the water, and it's a very dramatized thing.
Yeah,
but it's like there's no way he doesn't. That's not just a riff.
You just need a couple little things like that,
But just what it's like doing stand up, where you start going into a bit that is not going anywhere.
Yeah,
and it's not gonna like how do I get out of this? But like if you're doing some like motivational speaker, it's like you gotta commit.
He's gotta be a good bullshitter. This is what I would do.
That dude is not bullshitting though. His shit is
he's full of shit probably.
No, I mean, what if it's not like he's selling you anything? All his
I mean,
his entire
He
job.
didn't know anybody that went to the beach.
Nah, that's not
He
exactly.
read that in a book somewhere.
Nobody thinks it's true, but the point is that you say it and it gets people fired up.
Yeah, that's all it is. How you say it.
But think about somebody who didn't. You can picture how a bad motivational speech would go.
Yeah.
When you're just sitting there watching it, like, what the fuck is this?
The
But
dude
like,
smoking cigarettes.
not even that, but just a guy who's stumbling and he doesn't have the charisma.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know how to really nail like a pause.
The outfit, something's a little off.
Because
with
there
it.
are moments with the Eric Thomas thing where it's like he says something and then he pauses.
But he started with high school kids.
Yeah, that's even harder.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
got to
you're
keep
right.
them on board.
Yeah.
And how do you get a bunch of high school kids who think that they know everything to like, no, I'm going to tell you a story about a guy who had to lift a boulder or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, but then you have to be able to build and build and build, and then you stop and you point to the kid. It's like, what do you think happens? And some dumbass kid is like, I don't know. He lifted the boulder. That's what happened. And
You know what I would do? I would glance through the art of war before I did it. And I would just say a couple of those things.
Your enemy wants you to strike from the east.
Yeah. Now, you see, if a cheetah is chasing game, it's only going to run so fast. But when the cheetah is the game,
Oh, yeah.
it's going to run.
I am the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things, I feel like you just need a little, it's just got to come full circle. You'd have to be like, so.
Well, you gotta believe in what you're saying so hard though. There's no like, doing comedy, you can kind of like, that was stupid, but how about this?
Right.
It's like, no. Eric Thomas is like, no, this is it. I'm gonna stand on this table and yell at you for half an hour.
Well, he's got that one joke that never works in any of his speeches. He's like, come to the beach tomorrow with a suit. And he wore a suit, should have wore shorts. Remember?
Yeah.
That joke never works.
You still think you gotta say something though. I mean, I think
Yeah.
functionally speaking, that there's a reason he puts that in there. I think.
Yeah, you got to tell people, like, I would do it like this. I'd be like, so I would go to this restaurant every Tuesday. And, as I'm a comedian and I'm touring, and I do it like this. This would be my bullshit story. I'd be like, so I used to go have coffee every morning at this restaurant, and another guy would sit there, and it was a restaurant with everybody, all the servers wanted to be like actors and actresses, and I don't know, something about the guy, he wasn't approachable, and the servers would never really talk to him. They'd even be a little crude to him. After about 5 months, one new server comes in, and he's nice to him. And he goes, so what do you do? We're all here trying to be actors. And the guy goes, oh, I cast movies. And then boom.
Oh, wow.
Dude, tell me. Huh?
Yeah.
Come on. I'd be
And
good at it.
That server's name?
Yeah.
Denzel Washington.
Yep.
Well, that's not bad. I'm not gonna lie, that's not bad. But the thing is, though, you hit the punchline too fast.
Well,
that story has to go
time
for
effort. Yeah.
No, but that story has to stretch.
Well, I gotta practice
There's got to be like fake outs, moments where things go left, but they could have gone right.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. I think that, I mean, like that. Everybody, it's one of those things I think everybody thinks they could do by watching it, but there's a reason Eric Thomas is Eric Thomas.
Right.
And I've seen some of these YouTube TikTok guys who are trying to do it, and it's like, nah, you don't got the juice.
And I performed in front of high school kids. You really can't ever win.
Yeah. Imagine like getting them to actually like be scared and like get emotionally invested. That's really, there is a storytelling skill to it.
Yeah, I did this thing. All these very, very rich, which I didn't realize how rich these people were, man. Extremely rich Jewish kids. On like 20 by the old stand, like 23rd and 2nd Ave or something.
Yeah.
Roy got me the gig from LOL.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, dude. The guy's like, Roy told me to send him the 500. Roy gave me $50 to do it.
Wow.
He made $450 just telling me about it.
Yeah.
And dude, I bombed terribly,
It
bro.
was a stand-up show?
Yeah, it was a stand-up show.
What was the venue like?
2.5 hours late. It was in the back of a closed-down bar.
Wow.
And the bar had a back room. Honestly, I tried looking into the place, but the place isn't like, it's just for like pop-up things right now.
Yeah.
Because it would be perfect for stand-up. But yeah, it's got a separate entrance to this big back room. And like probably seats
like
about 50
people.
people.
It was like a banquet room with a bunch of
Yeah,
business guys.
it was one teacher and the filthiest, most ignorant. Dude, these Jewish kids were saying stuff. So he's like, yeah, he's going to rape him in his sleep. He's going to rape his mother. I'm like, bro, like, they were like, yeah, you can't be dirty, everything PG. He's like, fuck you, suck my fucking big black dick. Little rich Jewish kids. I'm like, telling the teacher, they're like, calm down now.
Wow.
I'm like, bro, what? You know, and I had
to go up and
they threw shit at me, dude.
Wow.
They were throwing pita bread like frisbees. I'm like, dude, what's your problem? They go, yeah, his dad's a billionaire.
Wow.
They're like, you know, he's got a Bugatti. He's showing me pictures. He's like, yeah, my dad even lets me drive it. I'm only 16. What do you got?
You had to do your act?
Yeah, and they made me do the full act, 45 minutes.
Wow.
No cussing, no dirty, can't make fun of people.
Yeah.
Can't single anybody out. There was all these rules. And, dude, the whole time these kids were terrible, bro.
See, imagine what Eric Thomas must go through. Or at least now it's probably good for him. But, like, early on when it's like, nah, I'm just going to walk into this room and I mean, you could be a little funny just to get them going. But it's like, no, I got to take these fucking kids on a ride. And these kids don't want to hear any of this shit. But I still got to be able to do an hour, and it's got to be a sermon.
And Eric came up from the bottom. Like, I'm a big E.T. fan.
Yeah.
He was homeless, right?
I think he was just doing, like, $50 gigs.
Yeah.
Or it's, like, just for a bunch of, like, old people or something. And it's, like, slowly your name gets built. It's more of a pastor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's starting a religion.
Yeah.
The hip-hop preacher.
But that shit is, like, there's a reason why it's, like, the Atlanta Falcons bring in somebody like that.
Yeah.
And it's like these guys, this is a team of guys who are the best football players in the country. You know, these are like professional athletes. These guys have been great at football for their entire life, but you still got to bring in a guy just to like get them hyped up.
And it's crazy. The thing that gets them hyped up is a story about how his son didn't want to go to the trunk and get another book.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he'll be like, son, my son told me there's no more books. I'm confused. I go to the trunk of the car and we got 50 books back there. He's like, Dad, I was tired. I've been out here all tired. I ate out the trash.
Yeah.
You know, I bought you an Xbox. You know?
We don't get tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't get tired, son. We in the fourth quarter. Woo!
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like the kind of thing where it's so easy to make fun of.
Yeah.
But then when you watch it and you really lock in, it's like, nah, you get amped up.
Yeah, you do.
It's like if I could, it's the kind of skill where I wish I had that because I would use that all the time.
And, you know, everybody's just sitting there watching them smoking weed, not doing shit.
Yeah. But everybody does get a little bit of energy from it. So I don't know. Because I've been like, I've never like belonged to a church, but like I've gone if it's like a funeral or something or like, you know, wedding or you go to like, as my cousins are taking care of me when I was a kid, I got to tag along with them to church. And most pastors, preacher, whatever the guy's called, don't have any skills whatsoever.
Right.
They don't get hired because they're good speakers. They get hired because they're, you know, they know a guy or something.
They've been in the church for years.
Yeah, they just studied at a seminary and then they get put in this position. But like it's totally different to be a guy who builds his own thing just from charisma. Because you got to be like the guy.
And some of these are traveling guys. Like we had one that was the guy.
Yeah.
His whole thing was he had this story about a football player that played for the Dolphins. Who's that famous?
Dan Marino?
Yeah, Dan Marino. Yeah.
He knew him?
So anyways, well, you know how these stories go.
He saw him at the mall one time.
He saw him at the airport, evidently, and he just got here from like Lebanon or something, and he didn't know who Dan Marino was. And, you know, so he would tell this whole story about how, you know, Dan Marino just really appreciated having a conversation with somebody and how we're all the same when you don't know what somebody is. He's like, you know, I thought Dan Marino was just a guy, a regular guy, you know. And,
wow.
And it just shows you that we're all just the same people. But anyways, dude, he was the best one that I've ever had. He knew how to reach you. He really got connected with me. And then it came out he was banging everybody's wife, dude, in the church for real.
Wow.
I know this is like bad to talk about, but this is just what happened. So they had to ban him from the place. A dude came home and, you know, he was in bed with the dude's wife.
Wow.
He used to do all these house calls to the people's wives.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You got to do some extra church.
Yep. And he would come over when the husband was at work.
Wow.
And yeah, it came out that he was just been doing it for years.
Yeah, and then they bring in the new guy.
And he's not as
And
good.
the new guy's trying to tell the Dan Marino story, but
Right.
he doesn't know the parts.
You're over there trying to show him your wife.
Yeah, right. Tell the Dan Marino story.
Yeah,
It's
honey.
like, no, that's not what I do.
Wear that short skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Now, what
like,
about
imagine trying to become, it's so hard to like become religious if the person that's talking to you is boring.
Right.
They don't got the charisma. And it's like, why would I want to believe in you?
And most of the best ones, like the people that are really like living the clean life, they're the ones that are on the microphone and they're like, "Sorry, she came into the God's disciples."
Yeah.
And you,
Or it's just a guy who's just reading. This
Yeah.
whole thing is just, flip to Matthew, this, and we're going to read for a while.
or they got to keep clearing their throat all in the thing. You hear the benches squeak.
Yeah, they're just making announcements.
You want somebody to get and donate.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that you hear.
So I was talking about on stage. I was my aunt's funeral, and it's like I forgot that my aunt was like religious.
Yeah.
So you go to the funeral and you're expecting them to do like it's like a thing where we're all going to talk about my aunt.
Yeah.
And it's like no, this guy just keeps reading from the Bible.
Yeah.
And it's like now we're going to flip to this page and we read for a while, and it's like we're going to talk about my aunt. This is just like they just snuck me into church.
And some of those things, they have the person fall out. They got to have somebody fill in.
Yeah.
Like, the funeral, sometimes they don't even know the people.
Yeah.
You just tell them a couple things. And, I remember, and then you get the new people. Like, I had somebody pass away. Nobody at the place clearly knew him. It's like, why won't you just have their aunt talk or something?
Yeah.
They're promoting their bake sale.
Yeah, right, follow
It's
me
like,
on
this
Instagram.
person's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I remember seeing it. And then people always get mad because, like, the oldest sister gets to write what it is. And they'll be like, they didn't bring up Bethany, She's been married into the family for years. My uncle, he had the best funeral, dude. And honestly, I would do mine the same way. He was like, the church thing, we didn't even really do it. We did an after party that was legit a party. Like, dude, he had a DJ, whiskey. He had everybody drink his favorite drinks.
Wow.
He lined it all up. He's like, even if you don't drink, dude. And it was like the funnest one. Music.
Wait, so he knew he was dying?
Well, he set it up ahead of time. He said, if I ever pass away,
wow.
this is how I
Here's the
want it.
plans.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he was older.
Yeah.
But he was a fun uncle, dude. He was like the partier. He was a real cool dude.
Wow. Yeah, it takes, that's got to be a fun party to plan.
Yeah.
If you're just sitting down,
Yeah.
just like, here's the kind of music. We're going to get some guacamole.
Yeah, you got to throw some stuff in, mess with so-and-so.
Yeah, right.
Somebody crack a joke.
Yeah, we're playing cornhole.
Yeah. Dude, and it was like that type of thing. Everybody was smacked. They're laughing. Everybody had a good time.
Wow.
That's the way to do it. You don't want people sad.
Yeah.
I know when my grandfather passed away, dude, he was like, don't give me no damn funeral. Don't waste the money. Dig a hole and bury me.
Wow.
And we're like, dude, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah. And he had no funeral at all. It was crazy. They just had him laying there on the table and they're going over the will. Like, yeah, you get this.
Oh, wow.
You get that. I came down the steps. My uncle's like, what's he doing here? Because they cut me out of the will because
Wow.
my mom died. It's crazy. People get crazy over like 800. You really know who somebody is when it's like, yeah, I'm going to lose this person as a family member over $400. It's like,
Right, yeah.
dude, what are you doing there?